Well, you're listening to the Radio Realtors. I'm Robert Lewis with Made for More Realty, your real estate professor. And today we're talking about something that can make or break a real estate deal, and it's the lending strategy behind it. Because right now it's not just about getting pre-approved, it's about how strong that approval is and how fast your lender can move and whether your financing actually helps you win, and that actually helps you win. And that's why I've got two of the best in the business with me today from JVM Lending, Jay Voorhees, is that how you say it, Jay?
Yeah,
and Andrei Paduraru.
Nailed it.
Oh,
nice.
Man, okay, great. Well, Jay has been in the mortgage industry for over 30 years, and he's built a model that's designed to eliminate those weak points most buyers and agents run into during escrow. And if you're a realtor out there, you know what I'm talking about. Now, Andrei is in the trenches every day, structuring deals, solving problems, and helping buyers compete in, really, I think this is like one of the toughest markets we've seen in a while. And Jay and Andrei, welcome to the Radio Realtors. Glad you guys could be here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Well, let's get right into things. Jay, for someone hearing about JVM for the first time, who is JVM Lending and what makes your model different from the typical loan officer setup?
Well, I'll let Andrei elaborate a little bit more. That's kind of his forte.
Okay.
But we started to build what we call a super team model about 15 years ago because we saw a lot of bottlenecks with traditional lending structures where there was a single loan officer that the entire transaction revolved around. Mm-hmm. And when that happened, when that loan officer got bogged down or too busy with any one aspect of the transactional process, he was nowhere to be found.
Okay.
So what we discovered with our super team process, we could build an assembly line where there was always somebody to work on the transaction and keep it moving much faster and to provide much faster response times. And that's what realtors really seem to like, and so did our clients. And it allowed us to close transactions much faster. Mm-hmm. So even now we're kind of renowned for our 10 calendar day closes.
Okay.
And we can do that over and over again because we have this super team assembly line structure that works so efficiently and seamlessly.
Very cool. So Andrei, talking about that super team,
Sure.
That stood out to me when I was looking at things. So you called it a super team. What exactly does that mean, and how does it help clients in a live deal?
Yeah, definitely. So we try to take the best of both worlds and those elements that really work from the traditional model and then just enhance it. So to echo what Jay was saying earlier, it's almost like when a loan officer gets too good, they start cannibalizing their own business because they can't keep up with the amount of clients they're getting in, the amount of closings, etc. So the super team essentially takes this role that we call the client advisor, and that is that person to person or that direct point of contact that's directing traffic, getting on the phone, answering questions, but they're not the ones actually then going back to the office and doing the work or plugging the numbers into the loan system. There's a team behind them that is highly trained, extremely expert at taking the baton and making sure all of that information gets into the system efficiently. And so that lets the client advisors be on the phones all day, having those conversations, make sure they're really easy to get a hold of when a realtor has a question or when a client has a question.
So how does that give buyers the edge?
So where it gives the buyers the edge is the speed it affords them and the products we can pair with it. So the speed is unparalleled. I mean, when you have somebody that can get on the phone quickly and answer your questions, you're that much more confident going back to the table to ink the deal and actually submit it or submit an offer. And then we can close in that 10 calendar day window that Jay had mentioned, because again, the loan officer isn't the one who's taking new calls and then also trying to get disclosure signed and showing up to the closing. It's a much more streamlined process.
Sure.
It also lets us negotiate with our investor partners on this in the secondary market as a whole. Mm-hmm. So when we're going to the table, we're saying, hey, look, here's the volume for all of JVM. We're a collaborative unit. We're not, loan officer A that's closing 20 million and loan officer B that's closing 15. We're going all together with our, hundreds of millions of volume, so we can twist arms a little bit to get lower interest rates and bring on more and more products that are unique and give buyers the edge. And I know we're going to be talking about some of those later.
Sure, and you know what? I mean, a 10-day close is, I remember when I first started in real estate, I mean, we were doing 10-day closes, routinely. And then it seems like we kind of got away from that after the Great Recession, and things were taking a little bit longer, and that type of thing. But now, I mean, we're seeming to transition to that, where most of the lenders that I deal with, I mean, we're closing in 10 to 21 days max, not 30 or 45 or
Right.
I got an offer on one of my homes not too long ago, and it was a 60-day close, and I was like, 60 days. I go, I mean, like, Jesus might come back before before that happens, right? So, Jay, you've seen multiple cycles in the industry. When you started JVM, what problem were you trying to solve there?
Well, we started JVM right before the 2008 mortgage meltdown, and the biggest issues back then were undertrained loan officers because loans were too easy back then. Everything
Sure.
was stated income, stated asset, basically the old-fashioned liar loans.
The ninja loans.
The ninja
no
loans.
income, no
nothing,
job, no
actually.
asset. Yeah.
And the barriers to entry to get into the industry were very, very low too. You didn't have to take very rigorous tests. You didn't have to have a lot of credentials. You could just plunge into the industry and set out your shingle and start doing loans. But when the 2008 meltdown happened, loans became much more difficult because all those liar loans or ninja loans went by the wayside.
Right.
And suddenly, loan officers had to be a lot smarter. And about 80% of the loan officers who kind of made their way for the previous 8 years from 2008, they knew far too little to be effective assistants for buyers and real estate agents. And that was a big problem at our company. And unfortunately, I'm ashamed to admit, we had some of those loan officers on our team, and we realized they just couldn't cut the muster in the new environment.
Right.
And it was my wife's idea, she's my partner, co-owner. It was her idea at the time to go to the top universities, offer pretty high salaries for the time, and to get them come work for the company and set up an entirely new structure with much sharper, what we called mortgage analysts and people on the team to build that assembly line to make sure we could provide the professional and knowledgeable assistance that real estate agents and buyers wanted. And so we built out a training program, started hiring all these UC graduates, and they came to work for us. And after that, it was just, the rest is history. It worked out beautifully.
Well, that is a great story. Yeah. So let's talk about what everybody is watching right now, and that is interest rates, right? I mean, it seems like you can't go anywhere without hearing about it. I mean, I remember I guess it was like a week or so ago, I was at a barbecue for a retirement party, and they go, you're in real estate, what's going on with interest rates, right? So what's your read on where the mortgage market is going, and where it's heading maybe in the next 6 to 12 months?
Well, it pretty much all comes down to oil, believe it or not.
Yeah, okay.
And as we talked about a little bit earlier, interest rates have gone up or went up about 0.5% after the Iran war started.
Right.
And that was entirely in response to what was happening to oil prices, because the spike in oil prices signified that there'd be a lot more inflation coming down the road. And whenever there are signs of inflation, bond investors who control interest rates, not the Fed, bond investors demand higher yields, and that drove rates way up. So basically the bond market panicked when they saw oil prices spiking so much in response to the Iran war. Well, as things have cooled down a little bit, fortunately rates have come back down about 3/8, so they've settled back. But we had a nice downward, but they're still, excuse me, I should add, they're still about 0.25% higher than where they were when the Iran war started. So it all comes down to oil and when the war ends and when oil prices come down.
Okay.
So when the Iran war ends, we will see oil prices come down precipitously, probably not as much as we expect because so much production has been knocked offline for a long time.
Right.
But we will see oil prices come down. That will signal to the bond investor, the bond market, that inflation is going to be cooling, and then we'll see rates come down too. So it all comes down to when that happens. Nobody quite knows.
Yeah, no, we all wish we had that crystal ball, right?
Yes.
So affordability has been, the biggest hurdle that we've been dealing with. What are you seeing right now that's improving, and what's still a challenge in you guys' mind?
I think the number one thing is supply, and that is what we are experiencing an acute shortage of throughout California, especially in the bigger metros here in Sacramento, in the Bay Area, Los Angeles. I mean, it's unbelievable how many homes are getting multiple offers and going way over asking. And they're homes in areas where you wouldn't have guessed before, right? It's the surprising, like, oh, okay, in that part of town, we're gonna have 25 offers, but it's just the only house that's available, so people are fighting for it. It's ironic because in other areas, we have we're licensed in multiple states throughout the U.S. And so in our Texas and Florida markets, there is no affordability problem. There's people have the pick of the litter, and they can make a lot of things work in a single family home. But unfortunately, in California, it's much harder to build, and that just that compounds the issues more and more.
The interesting thing, though, it comes down to rates so much too, because during COVID, of course, That's when prices were driven up to where they are now, and they have not come down significantly.
Right.
And everybody expected rates to plummet. There were tons of work, we call them the crash bros, on all over social media, predicting an absolute housing Armageddon crash, everything in 2022 and 2023 when rates went up, and that did not happen. Values have held nicely, surprisingly, and that's why payments are so much higher right now. So really, the true cure for the affordability crisis is much lower rates, and I think the administration is going to try to do everything they can to bring rates down, but unfortunately there's not much they can do. But if we see rates come down 3% to where they were during the COVID era, we'll see the affordability crisis being addressed pretty readily that way.
Right.
And one more quick thing, rates may in fact drop another 1.5% to 2% if oil prices come down and inflation stays calm enough, and if some of these financial crises coming down the road surface, that could bring rates down too. So we could actually see significantly lower rates over the next 12 to 18 months. It's just a matter of when and what happens in the economy.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree with everything you guys are saying. And you know what, in the next segment, I want to kind of speak to the people who are listening, who are on the fence, and kind of get your case for, why buying now might be better than waiting until those rates fall. But folks, if you want to learn more about what Jay and Andrei are doing, you can check them out at jvmlending.com, or you can reach out to Andrei directly at 925-395-4289.
You got it.
Yeah, so, and here's the reality, people. I mean, the market doesn't reward hesitation. In my mind, it rewards preparation, and preparation starts with people that you choose to work with at the beginning. And if you're even thinking about buying or selling, don't try to figure it out on your own. Give us a call here at the Radio Realtors, Made for More Realty. 833-32-RADIO is our number. That's 833-327-2346. And we'll walk you through the options, connect you with the right team, including experts like Jay and Andrei, who know how to structure deals and actually help you win. And we'll keep this going in the next segment and get into strategy that can help you lower your payment right out of the gate. So stay with us. We are the Radio Realtors. We'll be back right after this.